When people imagine ancient Persia, they picture kings and armies. Yet Persian history also belongs to queens, strategists, and survivors too today. Across empires and centuries, women advised rulers, financed temples, ran estates, commanded fleets, and shaped culture through poetry and law quietly often. Some names are legendary, like the warrior queen who defeated Cyrus and the royal mother whose decisions helped choose an emperor herself. Others are preserved in clay tablets, wage records, seals, and contracts, showing women working, owning property, and traveling on state business alone. From Achaemenid palaces to Safavid workshops, from Qajar salons to modern streets, this is the story of Persian women who changed everything. Our earliest evidence comes from Persepolis, where administrators recorded rations, labor, and travel permits for thousands of workers, including women everywhere there. These tablets reveal women as managers, craft specialists, and independent wage earners, sometimes receiving higher payments than male laborers in records too. Greek writers, often biased, still mention influential royal women who negotiated marriages, controlled estates, and moved politics behind the throne for years. Later Islamic chronicles and court memoirs show women funding schools, commissioning art, and sometimes directing succession, diplomacy, or rebellion from within walls. History often hides them, but documents, ruins, and stories keep revealing a constant truth. Power has many forms in Persia as well. In the Achaemenid Empire, women could own property, inherit land, and manage estates, especially in noble families and royal households directly themselves. Persepolis records list female supervisors overseeing large work groups, distributing rations, and coordinating production of textiles, wine, and grain across many sites. Some women traveled with official caravans, receiving travel rations like soldiers, proving the empire recognized female mobility and authority in public life. Mothers were paid maternity rations, and newborns were registered, suggesting state administration valued families and organized labor with precision for future work. This wasn't modern equality, but it was far more structured than many contemporary societies, and it left records to prove it clearly. Among royal women, Atassa stands out as a master of imperial politics. Daughter of Cyrus, wife of Darius, and mother of Xerxes. Her position connected 3 reigns, giving her unmatched influence over succession, court alliances, and the messages carried across the empire each year. Ancient sources describe her supporting Xerxes' claim, and once he ruled, she shaped policy by advising ministers and controlling resources at home. Her wealth came from vast estates, and she could fund roads, ships, and building projects, turning private power into public outcomes daily. Atassa proves that Persian queens weren't decorations. They were political engines inside the palace, shaping who ruled the world next and why. On Persia's northeastern frontier lived the Safavid-era, steppe warriors led by Queen Tomyris, a ruler feared by kings and generals everywhere nearby. When Cyrus expanded toward her lands, conflict erupted, and Tomyris' son was captured and died, igniting her vow of vengeance against Persia. Ancient accounts say she refused surrender, gathered her cavalry, and met Persia in a brutal battle across open plains at dawn there. Cyrus was killed, and legend claims Tomyris filled the bag with blood, declaring the conqueror had finally had enough of war today. Whether every detail is true or not, Tomyris became an enduring symbol, a woman who could stop an empire by force alone. Persia also relied on capable women within its alliances, including a famous naval commander from the Aegean who fought for Persia bravely. In the Greco-Persian Wars, she commanded ships, advised the king and council, and proved sharper than many male admirals that day too. Her story shows Persian power was not only cavalry and infantry. It included intelligence, strategy, and leadership beyond gender in hard wars. Persian courts valued results, and women with talent could rise through loyalty, wealth, or family networks to influence decisions at critical moments. These examples remind us that the ancient world wasn't silent for women. It was selective about whose voices survived in our records. Beyond queens, Persian women worked as weavers, brewers, farmers, and administrators, forming the economic backbone of imperial cities and villages every season. Clay tablets list women's wages in grain and wine, proving paid labor systems long before modern factories and payrolls ever existed here. Women could hold seals for transactions, sign contracts, and manage household property, showing legal identity recognized by the state in daily commerce. Some served as priestesses or temple staff, controlling offerings and rituals that bound communities together across vast distances and languages for centuries. This broader picture matters because power isn't only on battlefields, it's also in work, law, and survival day after day for all. After the Arab conquest, Persian society changed, yet Persian women still wrote, taught, and preserved culture within courts, homes, and markets quietly. One early Persian poet, remembered for tragic love and fearless verse, became a symbol of female voice surviving strict norms for generations. In royal households, women patronized scholars, sponsored buildings, and shaped etiquette, helping Persian language remain prestigious across the Islamic world even then. Markets and workshops relied on women's labor, while family networks passed stories, recipes, and traditions that kept identity alive under new rule. Persia's survival was not only kings and armies, it was also mothers, poets, and patrons keeping culture breathing through change each century. Under the Safavids, Iran became a major Shia empire, and royal women gained influence through court politics, endowments, and diplomacy behind screens. Women in elite households funded mosques, schools, and shrines through religious foundations, shaping cities without holding official titles for public memory too. In Isfahan's workshops, women wove carpets and textiles whose patterns traveled across continents, turning craft into soft power for Persia's global name. Safavid society imposed limits, yet female agency appeared in commerce, pilgrimage, and family negotiation, especially among merchant communities in many cities today. Their influence helped embed Shia rituals into Persian culture, a legacy still visible every year in mourning ceremonies and art across Iran. In the Qajar era, foreign pressure and internal stagnation created debate about reform, and women began demanding education and public voice openly. Elite women sponsored schools and newspapers, while others organized private study circles that quietly spread new ideas through cities at night too. A famous 19th century poet and theologian shocked society by unveiling publicly, arguing that tradition must change and paying with her life later. Her courage became a symbol for women who wanted choice, literacy, and dignity, long before modern slogans and social media appeared anywhere. By the early 20th century, women supported constitutional movements, raised funds, and even defended neighborhoods, proving politics was never only male either. During the Constitutional Revolution, women formed associations to support parliament, boycott foreign goods, and demand schools for girls across the country too. Some smuggled weapons to defenders, others wrote pamphlets, and many raised money from bazaars, turning homes into headquarters in secret rooms daily. They pushed back against the idea that modernization meant copying Europe, insisting that Iranian reform must include women as citizens from now. These movements were often suppressed, but they created a tradition of organizing that would reappear again and again in Iranian history later. When people speak only of kings and clerics, they miss the constant thread. Women shaping Iran's political future with patience, courage, always. In the 20th century, state-driven modernization expanded women's education and employment, creating new opportunities in universities, medicine, and law for many families. Dress reforms and public reforms were promoted from above, celebrated by some, but resented by others who felt traditions were attacked daily. This split created a cultural tension between elite urban life and religious working-class neighborhoods, a gap that widened through decades inside Iran. Women became symbols in that struggle. For some, modern progress. For others, identity and faith under pressure on streets and screens everywhere. These debates set the stage for 1979, when revolution brought new laws, new limits, and new forms of resistance for women again. After 1979, mandatory dress codes and legal restrictions reshaped women's lives, yet education expanded, and millions entered universities anyway across the nation. Women became doctors, engineers, filmmakers, and activists, pushing boundaries through art, sports, and daily negotiations with authority in public spaces too daily. Campaigns for legal reform rose and fell, but each wave left experience, networks, and courage that could not be erased so easily. In recent years, young women have used smartphones and social media to tell stories, document injustices, and demand choices in their lives. The world sees headlines, but behind them is a long Persian tradition. Women insisting they belong in history's center, not its edges. From Atas's court to modern classrooms, Persian women have navigated empires, invasions, and revolutions while protecting family, language, and culture through everything. Stereotypes paint the ancient world as only male, but Persian evidence shows women negotiating contracts, leading rituals, and shaping succession at times. Their power was sometimes official, often informal, and always real, appearing in money, marriage, education, and storytelling across generations without ending ever. Empires rise and fall, but cultural memory is built in homes, songs, and books, where women are often the guardians of continuity. To understand Persia, you must look beyond kings. You must see the women who carried Persia forward in peace and war alike. Persian women changed history through battles, diplomacy, poetry, labor, and protest, proving influence doesn't require a throne to move nations and ideas. A frontier queen stopped Cyrus, a palace queen guided emperors, and countless unnamed workers kept the imperial machine alive year after year. Later, women funded mosques and schools, challenged kings in courts, and built new voices in literature, film, and science for their people. If this story surprised you, it's because history is often edited and women's names are the first to vanish from our lessons. Subscribe to Historiopedia and tell us which Persian woman should get her own episode next.